Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Films. My name is Alan. My friend asked me for some advice about whether he should take a job in one of Amazon's warehouses. I told him, well, there's a chance you might get crushed to death by one of those shipping robots that will eventually replace your job anyway, and they also will monitor you while you go to the bathroom. But should you survive, you'll actually be first in line to get Amazon corporate citizenship, which actually could be a pretty good thing and very valuable in the future. Because let's be honest guys, how far are we from Amazon just buying an island or maybe some territory from a dictator-run third world country and establishing their own nation? One where they could put their headquarters in and where they don't have to pay any taxes because they are the tax collectors. I mean, how did people start America in the first place? To escape religious persecution from European vampires. All Amazon is doing is trying to do the same, escape economic persecution. Or at least that's the case they would make when they're appealing for membership with the UN. It's baby steps, really. First, Amazon offers us something great like Amazon Prime. I mean, it's an unprecedented luxury to have anything from anywhere in the world delivered to our doorsteps in 1 or 2 days. And if you take a look at the statistics, over 60% of American households already have it and are basically members of Amazon, which is just the first step in the visa application of being a citizen of the corporate federation of Amazon. And that's how things work in human civilization. Change comes gradually and gradually until we get used to things and they become the norm. I mean, we used to burn witches in this country because we knew that they were eating our kids and casting plagues on people. But now, hundreds of years later, we let them write award-winning books that become an international phenomenon and a very successful movie franchise and a Broadway show. Imagine what people from Salem would think if they saw us now. They would be shocked by how stupid we are to let all these witches roam free. So the battle between corporations and government regulation is already over. Ever since the Gipper charmed our pants off and showed us that we could win big as a country and people by allowing corporations to roam free, it's a trend that Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump have all lovingly embraced. And so now we measure success in this country with complex acronyms like GDP, S&P 500, Dow, KFC, and those are the measurements that also help people win elections. And to be honest, it kind of works. There's a reason why people immigrate to free market economies and not centrally planned economies like North Korea. One simply works and the other one will get you killed and probably eaten by your fellow men. I don't care what you internet Marxists say while you're typing away on your Android or Apple smartphones on Google-owned YouTube website. The battle's over and it's all done. Sign up for a corporation today. And which corporation, you might ask? Well, that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to look at some of the largest and obviously the most successful companies that the galaxy has ever seen. These are entities that have more power and resources than most nations on Earth. They have mastered and monopolized their respective industries, have complete control over the supply chains and demand, and without competition provide a stability that countries could only dream of. Sure, they might do unethical things like turn people into protein bars or zombies, but hey, it's only unethical when it's being done to you. Besides, corporate citizenship can prevent these things from happening to you. Probably. Automation replaces a lot of the jobs we have available, but at the same time, it replaces a lot of mundane and, let's say, dangerous jobs that maybe people shouldn't be doing in the first place. Did you know bowling alleys back in the day used to hire little kids to reset the pins? This was a great way for children to develop CTE and other brain trauma-related illnesses, which of course were exorcised out of them with fire. We also used to have people running around the streets at sunset using matches to light all the street lamps. They also would sing creepy songs about luring kids into the sewer. Now, we laugh at those jobs because they seem pretty silly in this modern time, but look at the jobs we have around us right now. Who knows what will be considered out of date and antiquated in another 50 years. But the truth is, AI and robots that can serve us and take all of our jobs aren't going to manifest in the way we thought they would. You see, while semiconductor companies like Intel and Samsung were banking on Moore's Law to exponentially increase computing power until the end of days, the limitations of material science has considerably slowed down that progress. I blame corporations for their obsession with quick profits and quick turnovers and a lack of resources dedicated to long-term alternative solutions. Well, that is, except for Tyrell corporations. You see, while the Cyberdynes of the world were trying to develop mechanical replicants of human beings, they realized that nature had already provided a supercomputer far more powerful and, more importantly, efficient than any machine, the human brain. Sure, you could create a gigantic computer that is more powerful than the human brain, but good luck trying to fit that on a mobile platform, let alone inside the frame of a humanoid-looking robot. This is why the machines in the Matrix kept us, you see. They weren't using our bodies as batteries, they were using our brains to amplify their own computing power. Tyrell Corporation was able to skip all of our limitations in material science and created bioengineered androids completely made out of organic material. And overnight, with the launch of the Nexus series, almost every job that humanity no longer wanted was being replaced by replicants. The pin setters and the lamplighters of now were all replaced by these organic robots, and they were able to do everything that humans could do much better and more efficiently, and most importantly, at a cheaper rate. And soon, all the outer colonies of man were being manned by these organic robots, and all the wars of man were being fought by these organic robots as well. And it didn't really matter when the replicants were killed or maimed or treated poorly. There were no lawsuits, no Senate hearings, because they weren't human. They didn't have emotions or empathy, and to make sure that they didn't become too human, they were even decommissioned after around 4 years. And so Tyrell Corporation was essentially responsible for supplying labor for the entire human race. They had a monopoly on work itself, which makes them a pretty stable and rewarding company to work for. Now, obviously, there was that incident in 2018 where a Nexus 6 combat team wiped out an entire colony. But hey, corporations in our world have survived much worse. Look at British Petroleum. They've recovered from the Deepwater Horizon fiasco faster than even the Gulf of Mexico. And even if those replicants start becoming self-aware and start a revolution, you know what's going to stop them? Tyrell's newest line of replicants, the Nexus 9. They are so dreamy. Weyland-Yutani represents the best of corporatism. Imagine if Elon Musk looked and sounded like Sir Richard Branson and merged his Tesla, SpaceX, Boring, Hyperloop, OpenAI, and Neuralink companies with some fictional Japanese company in an alternative timeline where Japanese companies are still on the cutting edge of technology. And you get a company like Weyland-Yutani Corporations. This multinational, later multi-planetary company is the largest the world has ever seen. It's gifted humanity with the discovery of true general artificial intelligence, faster than light speed travel, hibernation sleep chambers, space mining, terraforming, and of course the discovery of alien life. I mean, most of the companies on this list would just need to discover one or two of these technologies. Weyland-Yutani has done it all. While the republics and democracies of Earth were mired down in political infighting and nonsense, Weyland-Yutani had the gumption to dream of colonizing the stars, and in their pursuit of expanding humanity's footprint across the solar system and galaxy, they discovered so many other great things. Weyland-Yutani sent androids and teams of brave men and women to discover and conquer new worlds, to establish colonies and mine and produce new materials. As birth rates began to drop and innovation began to seize on our own home planet, the corporate citizens of Weyland-Yutani recaptured that pioneer spirit of old, and on the edge of life or death in the far reaches of the galaxy, chose life and expanded our presence so that we could never be destroyed as a species. And when they gave birth to that next generation who were completely born and raised in space, humanity became a true interstellar species. At one point, Weyland-Yutani was so powerful that they even had stakes in the United States Colonial Marine Corps. Then things started going downhill, partly because of that whole xenomorph incident where Weyland-Yutani tried to weaponize an extremely dangerous life form for military purposes, which then kind of spiraled out of control, and basically all of the nations on Earth outlawed megacorporations. But by then, Weyland-Yutani had already left their mark on humanity, and more importantly, made sure it had the tools and infrastructure necessary to continue expanding amongst the stars. The black market merchant, the arms dealer, and drug peddler is oftentimes maligned by society and the powers which seek to control us. For some reason, humans love controlling other humans. Whether you're a fascist or a woke college student, that is the reality of the human situation. But no matter how much we try to control each other, the beautiful thing about humanity is if there is a will or a demand, there will always be someone there to supply it. And there is no need more ancient than humanity's desire to kill one another using a variety of different tools and weapons. In the Star Wars galaxy, republics fall and empires replace them, only to be overthrown by a rebellion. Millions of people and lesser aliens give their lives fighting for one cause or another, oftentimes creating more problems than they're even able to solve. And while a lot of companies foolishly took ideological and emotional stances and threw in with governments and movements that were just flavors of the weak, Craftier companies like Senior Fleet Systems managed to survive for the long haul. You see, SFS, originally known as Republic Senior Systems, was founded almost 15,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. Through crafty mergers and political maneuvering, Senior Fleets managed to survive and excel at profiting within a constantly changing galaxy where regimes were constantly changing as well. And they did this by playing both sides and all sides. For instance, after the fall of the Empire, the Galactic Concordance Treaty signed by the New Republic made it illegal for any arms manufacturers to sell to the Imperial Remnant and First Order. That, along with the New Republic's demilitarization, completely dried up the huge military contracts that were seen during the Imperial era, a time during which Senior Fleet Systems was the sole provider of all starfighters for the Imperial Navy. Now, such a massive drop in demand for ships would have doomed any other company. But Senior Fleet Systems instead consolidated all their holdings and then secretly, boldly, and also illegally created a subsidiary company known as Senior James Fleet Systems, which helped provide the newly created First Order with all the weapons, ships, and hyperdrives they needed. You see, Senior Fleet Systems had a much longer view of galactic history. The New Republic, Empire, the First Order, they were all just power-hungry entities that wanted to dictate the future but ultimately would lose control. Senior Fleet Systems had one goal, and it was a very noble goal, and that was to survive and provide for its hard-working, dedicated employees. This is definitely a great company to work for. Now, it takes more than just good business acumen and corporate citizenship to make it onto this list. A company really needs to have a goal to define itself. At a quick glance, Umbrella Corporation is just your average international conglomeration. Its frame expands over many different industries, from pharma, chemical production, cosmetics, to transportation security, heavy machinery, and even tourism. Since the 1970s, this brand had been a household name that can be found in every aspect of life. But the true purpose of Umbrella Corporations is eugenics, and the pursuit of a more perfect and perhaps even immortal human being. The belief that humans have an unalienable right to never die is kind of a noble pursuit, don't you think? It's also an extremely ambitious goal that only the strongest-willed individuals are able to pursue. Now, sure, Umbrella Corporation's eugenics experiments ultimately led to the disastrous zombie outbreak of Raccoon City in 1998, but as the wise Mahatma Gandhi once said, "I simply cannot bear to look at my wife's face." The expression is often like that on the face of a meek cow. Sorry. No, that's not the one. Here it is. Does not the history of the world show that there would have been no romance in life if there had been no risks? But ultimately, Umbrella Corporation's risks and gambles led to failure, just like Gandhi's attempt to find a hotter wife. And by 2004, Umbrella Corporation and most of its subsidiaries ceased operations. And in 2010, a book revealed that Gandhi enjoyed sleeping naked with young women in order to prove his ability to abstain from sex. So there you have it, guys. Those are some companies that you could apply for corporate citizenship. And this is something that is coming very soon to our own world, so you might as well start researching now. Well, guys, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss out on the rest of our awesome content. And as usual, my name is Alan, reminding you that life is a movie, and you are the protagonist.